Welcome to the WrestleMania 1 review. We are trying a little experiment with all the excitement leading up to WrestleMania. I wanted to give a quick review of each of the WrestleManias and then some of our commentary on it. This is going to be an experiment because I use ChatGPT to write out reviews of each WrestleMania and each WrestleMania match. And for the free YouTube portion, the ChatGPT version will be what you see. If you want to hear personal opinions and stories, go to our Patreon, patreon.com/workingfanspodcast, and I will include a second frame for each little section, giving a review in my own words and kind of giving my own thoughts. So we're going to start from the top with WrestleMania 1. Before it became the biggest spectacle in sports entertainment, before the sold-out stadiums and worldwide audiences, there was a time when professional wrestling was still divided into regional territories, each fighting for its own audience, its own stars, and its own survival. In the early 1980s, the industry was controlled by this territory system, a network of promotions spread across the country, as well as Canada, each with its own champions and television deals. But one man saw an opportunity to change everything. Vince McMahon wasn't content with staying regional. He wanted to take his company, the World Wrestling Federation, national and eventually global. To do that, he began making bold, controversial moves. He signed top talent from rival territories, including the charismatic and rapidly rising Hulk Hogan, who would soon become the face of the company. He invested heavily in national television, bringing wrestling into millions of homes across the United States. And he leaned into entertainment, blending wrestling with music, pop culture, and celebrity appearances, something few promoters had ever attempted at that scale. This shift became known as the Rock and Wrestling Connection, featuring crossovers with stars like Cyndi Lauper, and helped push wrestling into the mainstream spotlight. But McMahon's biggest idea was still to come. He envisioned a massive closed-circuit television event, a wrestling super show that would combine the drama of boxing, the excitement of live entertainment, and the appeal of Hollywood. It was a huge financial risk. If it failed, it could bankrupt the company. But if it succeeded, it would change the industry forever. On March 31st, 1985, inside Madison Square Garden, that vision became a reality, with a main event featuring Hulk Hogan teaming with Mr. T and appearances from celebrities like Muhammad Ali. The first ever WrestleMania 1 was unlike anything the world had ever seen. It wasn't just a wrestling show, it was a turning point. The match between Tito Santana and the Executioner at WrestleMania 1 is one of the shortest and often most overlooked bouts on the entire card, but it still serves an important purpose in the show. Clocking in at just a few minutes, this match was less about back and forth competition and more about showcasing Tito Santana as a strong, credible babyface. Santana was already an established star at the time, known for his energy, technical ability, and connection with the crowd, and this match reinforced all of that very quickly. The Executioner, on the other hand, was presented as a mysterious, masked opponent, but ultimately functioned as a stepping stone. There wasn't much character development or offense given to him, and the crowd didn't have a strong emotional investment in the matchup itself. What the match lacks in depth, it makes up for in efficiency. Santana comes out aggressive, controls the pace almost immediately, and finishes things decisively with his signature flying forearm. It's quick, clean, and to the point. Exactly what it needed to be on a card packed with bigger attractions and celebrity involvement. From a modern perspective, this match might feel too short to leave a lasting impression, especially compared to today's longer, more storytelling-driven bouts. But in the context of WrestleMania 1, it works as a fast-paced moment that keeps the crowd energized and highlights one of the company's top stars. Overall, it's not a classic, but it's a functional and effective showcase match, a brief reminder of Tito Santana's talent, and a snapshot of how early WrestleMania balanced star power with pacing. The second match on the card is between King Kong Bundy and SD Jones. The match between King Kong Bundy and SD Jones at WrestleMania 1 is famous for one thing above all else: its shocking speed. Officially billed as lasting 9 seconds, this match holds a place in WrestleMania history as one of the quickest bouts ever. But that wasn't by accident. It was designed that way to make King Kong Bundy look like an unstoppable force. From the moment the bell rings, Bundy charges across the ring, completely overwhelming SD Jones with a brutal attack. There's no feeling out process, no back and forth, just pure domination. Within seconds, Bundy hits a massive splash and gets the pin, and the match is over almost as soon as it began. What's interesting is that the 9-second claim has been debated over the years, as the actual bell-to-bell time appears slightly longer. Still, the presentation is what matters, and the message was clear. Bundy was being built as a monster heel. For SD Jones, this match didn't offer much in terms of offense or showcase, but his role was to sell the destruction and make Bundy look even more dangerous, which he did effectively. From a modern standpoint, it's not a match you watch for technical wrestling or storytelling. Instead, it's more of an angle, a quick, impactful moment that adds variety to the card and keeps the pacing tight. In the context of WrestleMania 1, it works perfectly. The show needed quick bursts of action between its bigger matches and celebrity segments, and this delivered exactly that. Overall, it's less of a competitive match and more of a statement. King Kong Bundy had arrived, and he was a serious threat. The match between Ricky Steamboat and Matt Bourne at WrestleMania 1 is one of the more underrated contests on the card. A short but solid display of athleticism and classic wrestling fundamentals. At this point in his career, Ricky Steamboat was already gaining a reputation as one of the most skilled in-ring performers in the business. His quickness, crisp execution, and natural babyface charisma are on full display here, even in a match that doesn't get a lot of time to breathe. Matt Bourne, meanwhile, plays his role well as the aggressive and slightly unorthodox heel. He brings a rougher, more grounded style to the match, using strikes and control to try to slow Steamboat down. While he doesn't get a ton of offense, he provides just enough resistance to give the match structure. What stands out most is the pace. Even in a relatively short time frame, the match feels energetic and fluid. Steamboat's arm drags, chops, and quick transitions keep the crowd engaged, and everything builds cleanly towards the finish. The ending comes when Steamboat capitalizes with a high crossbody off the top rope, securing a decisive victory. It's a straightforward finish, but it reinforces Steamboat's momentum and highlights his aerial ability, something that helped set him apart at the time. From a modern perspective, this match might feel a bit too brief to be truly memorable, especially compared to Steamboat's later classics. But within the context of WrestleMania 1, it serves as a strong mid-card showcase and adds some much-needed in-ring quality to a show heavily focused on spectacle. Overall, it's not a show stealer, but it's a clean, well-executed match that quietly demonstrates why Ricky Steamboat would go on to become one of the most respected performers in wrestling history. The match between Brutus Beefcake and David Sammartino at WrestleMania 1 is one of the more story-driven bouts on the card, even if it doesn't fully come together in the ring. A big part of the match's appeal comes from David being the son of wrestling legend Bruno Sammartino, who is in his corner. That immediately gives the crowd someone to rally behind, and there's a natural emotional investment in seeing David succeed with his father watching on. Brutus Beefcake, accompanied by Johnny Valiant, plays the arrogant heel well. He leans into his character with plenty of taunting and rule breaking, hoping to generate heat from the crowd. However, once the match gets going, the in-ring action itself is fairly basic and at times feels a bit slow compared to other matches on the card. David Sammartino shows flashes of potential, but he doesn't quite have the same presence or polish as his father, and that contrast is hard to ignore. Still, the crowd remains engaged largely because of Bruno's presence at ringside, which adds tensions throughout. The finish is where things really break down. After some interference from Johnny Valiant, Bruno gets involved, leading to a disqualification. The situation quickly turns chaotic, with multiple people entering the ring. and the match ending in a somewhat messy and unsatisfying way. From a storytelling standpoint, the post-match brawl and Bruno's involvement get a strong reaction, but it comes at the cost of a clean or decisive conclusion. Instead of elevating David with a clear win or loss, the match ends in confusion. Overall, this is a match that relies heavily on star power and storyline rather than in-ring quality. It's not one of the standout matches of WrestleMania 1, but it does highlight the importance of legacy and crowd connection in early WrestleMania history, even if the execution leaves something to be desired. The match between Greg Valentine and Junkyard Dog at WrestleMania 1 is a classic example of two very different styles clashing, not always in the smoothest way. Greg Valentine, known as the Hammer, brings his methodical, hard-hitting approach to the ring. His style is slow, deliberate, and focused on wearing his opponent down, which contrasts sharply with Junkyard Dog's hot energy, crowd-driven presence. JYD was one of the most popular stars of the era, and his charisma is immediately evident as the crowd rallies behind him. From the start, the pacing feels a bit uneven. Valentine tries to ground the match with holds and control, while Junkyard Dog feeds off the audience, creating bursts of energy. While this contrast could have made for an interesting dynamic, it never fully clicks into a consistently engaging rhythm. One of the biggest issues with the match is its length and structure. It goes on longer than several other matches in the card, but without enough variety or escalation to keep it compelling throughout. The crowd remains into Junkyard Dog, but the in-ring action itself can feel repetitive at times. The finish is where things become especially notable and controversial. Junkyard Dog wins the match by count out, but Valentine retains the Intercontinental Championship. This kind of ending protects Valentine while still giving the crowd a moment to cheer, but it also leaves things feeling a bit unresolved. After the match, Junkyard Dog celebrates as if he won the title, which adds to the confusion and makes the finish feel even less satisfying from a storyline perspective. Overall, this is a match that leans heavily on power and crowd reaction rather than in-ring quality. While both Greg Valentine and Junkyard Dog play their roles well, the match itself struggles with pacing playoff. It's not one of the highlights of WrestleMania 1, but it's still an interesting snapshot of the era where character and crowd can often matter more than technical precision. The tag team match between Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda against the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov at WrestleMania 1 is one of the more important matches on the card, as it crowns the very first WWF Tag Team Champions of the WrestleMania era. Right away, the contrast between the teams is clear. Windham and Rotunda represent the young, athletic babyface duo, energetic, technically sound, and easy for the crowd to support. On the other side, the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov are classic, foreign heel characters generating loud boos even before the match begins, especially during Volkov's singing of the Soviet national anthem. Once the match gets underway, it's actually one of the more competitive and structured bouts of the night. Windham in particular stands out with his size and agility combination, delivering crisp offense and showing why he was considered a rising star. Rotunda complements him well, keeping the pace steady and playing his role effectively. The heels control portions of the match with their more grounded, power-based offense. The Iron Sheik brings his signature intensity while Volkov uses his size and presence to slow things down. The back and forth dynamic feels more developed than in many of the shorter matches on the card. This next section is wrong, but since AI wrote it, I'm gonna read it anyways. The finish, however, comes with some controversy. After a chaotic sequence, Windham pins Volkov to win the match and capture the tag team titles, but there's clear outside interference involving Freddie Blassie. Despite this, the decision stands, giving Windham and Rotunda the victory. From a modern perspective, the match has its rough edges and the pacing isn't always smooth, but it benefits from having more time than most other matches on the show. That extra time allows it to feel like a more complete contest rather than just a quick showcase. Overall, this is one of the stronger in-ring matches at WrestleMania 1. It combines solid tag team action, clear storytelling, and historical significance, making it an important part of the event's legacy, even if the finish isn't entirely clean. The next match is Big John Studd versus Andre the Giant. The body slam challenge between Andre the Giant and Big John Studd at WrestleMania 1 isn't a traditional match. It's more of a spectacle designed to showcase one of wrestling's biggest attractions. The premise is simple. If Andre can body slam Studd, he wins $15,000. If he can't, Studd claims the prize and Andre has to retire. Right away, the focus isn't on technical wrestling or match structure, but on the larger-than-life presence of both men. Studd, accompanied by Bobby Heenan, plays his role perfectly as the arrogant giant trying to avoid being slammed. Heenan's constant interference and antics add entertainment value, giving the crowd someone to boo while building anticipation for the big moment. The pacing is slow, intentionally so. Every moment is drawn out to emphasize the sheer size and strength of both competitors. Andre controls much of the action, using his power to wear Studd down, while Studd stalls and leans on Heenan for help whenever possible. Of course, the match is all about the payoff. After a gradual build, Andre finally lifts Studd and delivers the body slam, sending the crowd into a huge reaction. It's the moment everyone comes to see, and it delivers exactly as intended. Afterwards, Andre takes things a step further by tossing the prize money into the crowd, creating a chaotic but memorable scene that adds to his larger-than-life persona. From a modern standpoint, the match itself is very limited. There's little in terms of traditional wrestling, and the slow pace won't appeal to everyone. But that's not really the point. This was about creating a memorable attraction and giving the fans a moment they could talk about. Overall, it's not a technical classic, but as a piece of spectacle, it works perfectly. Andre the Giant slamming Big John Studd is one of the defining moments of WrestleMania 1, and a great example of how early WrestleMania leaned into larger-than-life moments over in-ring complexity. The next match on this card is Leilani Kai versus Wendy Richter. Leilani Kai comes into this match the champion, Wendy Richter challenging for that championship with Cyndi Lauper in her corner. Leilani Kai obviously has Moolah in her corner. The match between Leilani Kai and Wendy Richter at WrestleMania 1 is a short but historically significant contest, representing one of the earliest women's matches on a major WrestleMania card. From the opening bell, it's clear that this match is as much about character and storytelling as it is about in-ring wrestling. Wendy Richter, accompanied by pop sensation Cyndi Lauper, instantly connects with the crowd. Her charisma and energy are undeniable, and the audience is firmly behind her from the start. Leilani Kai as the heel plays the role of the cunning, rule-breaking villain effectively, taunting both Richter and the crowd to generate heat. The in-ring action itself is brief and straightforward. Both women execute basic holds, slams, and counters, with the pacing feeling a bit rushed due to the short match length. There aren't many technical flourishes, but every move is designed to build tension and showcase Richter's eventual triumph. The finish is clean and decisive. Richter secures the pinfall victory, cementing her as the women's champion. The emotional payoff is amplified by Cyndi Lauper's presence at ringside, whose visible excitement helps sell the moment to the crowd. It's less about technical mastery and more about spectacle, storytelling, and giving the audience a reason to cheer. From a modern perspective, the match might feel simplistic, especially compared to today's women's wrestling standards. However, its historical significance cannot be overstated. It helped legitimize women's wrestling on a national stage and introduced mainstream audiences to a new generation of female stars. Overall, Leilani Kai versus Wendy Richter is short but effective, a crowd-pleasing, story-driven bout that played a vital role in WrestleMania 1 and the broader rock and wrestling era. It's a reminder that sometimes wrestling isn't just about athleticism, but about creating moments that resonate with the audience. And now we are here at the main event of WrestleMania 1. Thank you for watching this video with us. And the main event, Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper versus Hulk Hogan and Mr. T. The main event tag team match of WrestleMania 1, Hulk Hogan and Mr. T versus Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff, is the centerpiece of the show and a perfect example of WrestleMania's early sports meets spectacle approach. From the start, the crowd is electric, thanks to the celebrity involvement of Mr. T and the star power of Hogan. The pairing of Hogan and Mr. T as the heroic baby faces works brilliantly, while Hogan taking the in-ring lead and Mr. T bringing charisma, crowd energy, and a sense of mainstream entertainment to the match. On the heel side, Piper and Orndorff are the perfect foil. Aggressive, cunning, and unpredictable, constantly interfering and bending the rules to maintain tension. The pacing of the match reflects the card's grand finale. There's a lot of emphasis on storytelling rather than technical wrestling, and it delivers in that department. Interference, distraction spots, and dramatic near falls keep the audience on edge. Piper and Orndorff dominate at times, building suspense, while Hogan and Mr. T rally for the big comeback moments that the crowd craves. One of the most memorable moments comes from the chaos surrounding the ring. Piper and Orndorff working together, Mr. T and Hogan teaming up, and moments where celebrity involvement, like Cyndi Lauper's presence at ringside, adds drama. Every beat is crafted to build to a satisfying finish. Hogan hitting the leg drop and pinning Orndorff to secure the victory. The crowd erupts and the show ends on a triumphant high note. From a modern perspective, the match isn't a technical masterpiece. There are stretches of sloppy timing and limited in-ring complexity, especially with Mr. T's limited wrestling experience. But that misses the point. The match succeeds as entertainment, delivering drama, star power, and an unforgettable WrestleMania moment that helps cement the event's reputation as a must-see spectacle. Overall, this main event is a perfect example of early WrestleMania philosophy. Big personalities, high stakes, and dramatic storytelling over technical wrestling. It's not a classic in-ring contest, but it's one of the most important and memorable matches in WrestleMania history. And thank you for joining us for this recap of WrestleMania 1. We finally got there, but we are not yet done. We are going to hear from the man called Dave with his thoughts on WrestleMania 1. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you decide to join us again for the WrestleMania 2 review.
All right, everybody, it is the man called Dave. WrestleMania 1 is really kind of when my fandom really kicked in. Like, for me, my fandom kicked in probably a little before that. Like I always say, like Piper and Jimmy Snuka were feuding, but you know, when Hulk Hogan won the title from like the Iron Sheik, you know, it was kind of on at that point. Hogan, Andre, you know, big stuff. And yeah, WrestleMania, I just remember Mr. T getting involved, which like my other favorite thing was the A-Team at the time. And it's because Mr. T was just this big, awesome looking guy who was just so impressive. And I pity the fool. So cool. And don't forget, you know, as a kid growing up, right, I'm probably 85. So I'm 9 at December. So I'm 8, you know, so I'm 8 years old for most of that year. And, you know, I'm like into Rocky, all these action movies of the 80s. And Mr. T was in Rocky 3. So this is huge stuff. So WrestleMania 1, you know, was obviously about Hulk Hogan and Mr. T versus Rowdy Piper and Mr. Wonderful, 2 top heels in the business at the time. But, you know, Andre the Giant versus Big John Studd, Body Slam Challenge, that was on there. In fact, if I don't even look at this card, like I can still remember the U.S. Express, Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda. You know, I loved Barry Windham even early on. There was something about him where I just thought this guy was amazing. But they lost the titles to Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik. Greg Valentine beat Junkyard Dog on that show. At least I think he won the match with his feet on the ropes, if I remember correctly. Oh, yo, JYD won it by a count out. Wow, I did not remember that correctly. You know, David Sammartino was on this card against Brutus Beefcake. I remember that because Bruno was in his corner. And I think that ended, double DQ. Ricky Steamboat versus Matt Bourne. I'm not looking here. Tito Santana versus the Executioner. I believe the Executioner was, I'm going to guess here, Playboy Buddy Rose. I got that right. King Kong Bundy beat SD Jones. I think they tried to say it was a record time. I don't think it was. Wendy Richter was on here with Cyndi Lauper in her corner. Of course, she won the title from Alani Kai with Fabulous Moolah in her corner. Yeah, Cyndi Lauper was a big part of that wrestling and music connection with MTV. So this was just huge. And, you know, Hogan and Mr. T won the main event. I think Cowboy Bob Orton got involved with the cast. Yep, and he accidentally hit Paul Orndorff out of this. And Piper and Orton left Orndorff in there by himself. And, of course, Orndorff would be a good guy after this. But WrestleMania 1, you know, and I go back and look at it, I don't know if all the matches necessarily hold up, but there is something special about it because it is the first one.